this lesson, we are going to go through writing main body paragraphs in IELTS writing task 2, how you can write them, what is the structure, and how you should think about them. Now, during the previous session, we have already covered how to write introductions, how to plan and come up with ideas. This session is going to be fully focused on writing main body paragraphs. Now, before we begin, I am not going to give you specific instructions on how to come up with ideas and write introductions because we've already covered that, and this session is specifically for writing main bodies. But if you want more training on that, check out our previous video. It should be there. Now, let's move on to the question. So today's question is this. In some countries, many people suffer from health problems due to eating too much fast food. It is therefore necessary for governments to impose a higher tax on this kind of food. Do you agree or disagree? Now, as always, the first step to writing a task 2 essay is reading and understanding the question. Duh, like it seems very obvious. I know, like obviously this is the first step, but a lot of you guys read the question but don't understand it. Now, you might be thinking that your English is good enough. What do I mean by not understand it? Well, this is what I mean. When I read this question, there is a general topic, which is health problems caused by eating too much fast food, and there is a specific topic, and the specific topic is what the question is specifically asking you to write about. The specific topic is, do I think that governments should impose a higher tax on fast food or not? Now, many students might read this question and then think that they need to be writing about health problems caused by eating too much fast food. That is not right. So pay attention to the question and make sure you understand it completely. That's the first step. Now, the second step would naturally be planning my answer for 5 to 10 minutes and coming up with ideas, but I've already done that, and we are not going to do that because the lesson is not about that, but I've written my introduction, and we can go through that. So let's go through it. It is claimed that governments should impose a tariff on fast food as health issues from its consumption are increasing. So in my main sentence, my first sentence in my introduction is always going to be a paraphrase of the question statement. This is the question statement. I'm going to paraphrase it in my first sentence in my introduction. Why do I do that? Because I want to communicate to the examiner that my language is flexible enough. Now, for those of you who don't know, paraphrasing is writing the same sentence in your own words. The meaning shouldn't change. So I've paraphrased the question statement. Then, this is what I've written. I support the idea that fast food companies should pay a higher tax. I've clearly and concretely outlined my idea, my opinion for the reader. So anyone who reads this essay knows exactly what I think about the question. And in this sentence, I have directly answered the question. Now, because this has already been successfully implemented on alcohol and cigarettes, and increased taxes could boost prices and reduce consumption. So here, I have outlined my reasons for why I think this. Why do I think it's a good idea to impose higher taxes on fast food companies? Well, this is why. It has already been successfully implemented on alcohol and cigarettes. By the way, I'm going to write about this in my first main body paragraph. And increased taxes could boost prices and reduce consumptions. Therefore, it's a good idea to impose higher taxes on fast food. And this is going to go in my second main body paragraph. Okay, now that we've been through my introduction, let's go through writing my first main body paragraph, as promised. Okay, I've already written these down for you guys. So, when writing main body paragraphs, you always need to consider that your paragraph should consist of 3 different parts. Now, what are those? Let's just start from the topic sentence. What is a topic sentence? The topic sentence is the first sentence of your main body paragraph. It's the sentence you start your main body paragraph with. Now, how should it look like? A topic sentence should communicate to the reader what the idea of the paragraph is. So one thing that you guys need to consider when writing is that your readers, people who are reading your essay, your teacher, the examiner, your friend, they have no idea what goes on into your head. They have no idea what you are trying to communicate with this essay, what the essay is going to be about. So you always need to prioritize communicating to them clearly and telling them over and over again that this is what my paragraph is about, this is what my sentence is about, this is my idea, this is what I think. So you need to have tools to communicate that. Your topic sentence helps with that. Your topic sentence shortly outlines the main idea of your paragraph. It tells the reader, hey, this is what this paragraph is going to be about. Now, let me start writing my topic sentence so that you can get a better idea on how your topic sentence should look like. Now, as I've already said, the idea for my first main body paragraph is going to be this. This has already been successfully implemented on alcohol and cigarettes. So, how can I write a topic sentence for that? How would I open my main body? This is one way to do it. For example, you could write something like this. Higher taxes, for example, on alcohol and tobacco instead of cigarettes. Have successfully decreased the damage caused by these products. Alright guys, now I'm going to have some spelling mistakes because I'm trying to type really fast so that you guys wouldn't get bored. So do not mind the mistakes. So, this is my topic sentence for this idea. Higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco have successfully decreased the damage caused by these products. So, when someone starts reading my paragraph, when someone begins reading it, they already know what the paragraph is going to be about. Now, I haven't written the paragraph yet, but when the examiner starts reading my paragraph, they know what it's going to be about. Higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco have successfully decreased the damage caused by these products. It's very obvious, it's very clear, and it exactly communicates what the idea of the paragraph is going to be about. So, you firstly write a topic sentence. We covered that. Then you write an explanation for your paragraph. Now, your explanation can be anywhere from 3 to 4 sentences, something like that. And what it does is it explains your idea to the reader. Think of it like this. When writing task 2 essays, what you are trying to do is you're trying to make an argument. You are trying to prove yourself, and you are trying to prove a point to the reader. What your explanation does is exactly that, is proving your point to the reader, communicating to them what you think and why you think what you think. So that's what it does. Now, in order to come up with explanations, a lot of students think that they can write anything irrelevant and explain like anything they want and it would be good enough, but that's not the case. To come up with relevant explanations for your main bodies, I have found that the best way is to ask yourself questions. Imagine that the reader, the person who is reading your essay, doesn't know anything about what you have just said. Imagine they have no idea what you mean by this topic sentence. How would you explain it to them? That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it, as I already said, is asking yourself questions. Like, for example, here I could ask myself questions like, what are the effects of this? How has this affected the consumption of alcohol and tobacco? What will happen if they implement it on fast foods? Why would it happen? When would it happen? So keep asking yourself questions. Keep asking yourself, like, why? Why would this happen? Where would this happen? What would be the effects of this? So if you keep asking yourself questions about your ideas, then you can come up with very good explanations. Now, let's write an explanation section for this idea. So, the topic sentence is, higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco have successfully decreased the damage caused by these products. I could write something like this, that, for example, let's say, the income, okay, wait a second, from alcohol and tobacco tax has funded, for example, treatments for disease caused by these substances. Now, I could move on with something like this again. Dictation problems. So the income from alcohol and tobacco tax has funded treatments for disease caused by these substances. So I'm explaining that what has happened, what has been the effect of applying higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco. Now, let's move on to the next sentence. We could write something like this. It has also supported campaigns it has also supported campaigns alerting people to the risks. Oh, that it's a problem of their use. So I further explained like what has happened, what has been the cause of this, what has happened after they have imposed higher taxes on alcohol and tobacco. Now, I could go on to make it relevant to the question and say what happens if they apply this to fast food. For example, I could write if applied to fast food companies, that would be better. Applied to fast food companies, the revenue pool could be used to treat example related health conditions caused by these foods. So now I've made it relevant. Now I've explained that what will happen if they apply the same strategy, the same policy to fast foods. Now I could again go on and further explain. It could also raise awareness of their harm and promote alternatives. Again, now I'm going to correct these. Again, I further explained how this policy could solve the problem of health disease and health problems caused by fast food. And this is my explanation. I think this is enough. This is enough explanation. Now let's go through it and read it. So I've written my topic sentence and I've written my explanation. The income from alcohol and tobacco tax has funded treatments for disease caused by these substances. It has also supported campaigns alerting people to the risks of their use. If applied to fast food companies, the revenue could be used to treat related health conditions caused by these foods. It could also raise awareness to their harm and promote alternatives. So, my explanation exactly tells the reader why do I think this is a good idea, what will happen if they apply this policy, and how has it gone in the past. So, we've gone through explanation as well. Let me highlight it to show that we have covered it. Now, let's go through example. What is an example and why do we bring an example? So at the end of all of your main body paragraphs, you need to bring a general example to support your point. Now, this is what all of you do in your day-to-day lives. Whenever you're arguing with someone, whenever you are trying to prove yourself or prove a point, you always bring examples for it. Let me think of something, for example, let me see. Like, imagine you're arguing with your teacher, and your teacher is, I don't know, punishing you for not doing your homework, and then you tell your teacher that, well, I don't know, Ali also didn't do his homework. Why are you punishing me? That could be an example. So you always use your examples in your daily life to prove your point. Your task to essay is exactly the same. At the end of each paragraph, main body paragraph, bring an example to support your point and to show the examiner that you can use examples, that your language is flexible enough for using examples. Now, what examples you should bring? Firstly, no personal examples. Personal examples are things like this. For example, my mother had health issues because of eating too much fast food. Not a good example. My uncle used to eat too much fast food, but he eats healthier now. Not a good example. Why? Because examples that are too personal don't prove your point. They don't support your point. When you bring examples that are too personal, the examiner thinks that you don't know what you're talking about. So you're not going to get the mark. So, no personal examples. Your examples should make sense. They should be logical. Now, a lot of the students, when writing examples, focus on giving specific statistics and giving scientific papers and making sure what they write is correct. The examiners don't care, to be honest. If what you're writing is correct, they're not going to check your numbers. They're not going to check if, I don't know, this study has been done in the UK or not. They don't care about that. What they care about is if you can make sense of your sentences using English. So make sure your examples are logical and they make sense logically and they are general. Like you could use an study. You could use something that's very, very, very general, and that would be a very good example. Now, I'm going to do a specific lesson on examples later, but that's all you need to know right now. And let me give you an example, 4 examples. So this is how I would write one for this paragraph. Could start with something like this. For example, many countries are already using the tax income from fast food companies to make whole foods cheaper and more available. Okay, so this example is general, it's nothing personal. I'm talking about like countries, and it's supporting my point. It is related to what I talked about. So what I talked about in the paragraph was that if they impose higher taxes on fast foods like they did for alcohol and tobacco, it is going to be a good thing and it is going to increase health issues caused by fast foods. Now, in my paragraph, I mentioned that, for example, if applied to fast food companies, the revenue could be used to treat health conditions caused by this food, right here. It could also raise awareness of their harm and promote alternatives. Now, my example is related to that. Many countries are already using the tax income from fast food companies to make whole foods cheaper and more available. Now, I could write an example that is more relevant to the general point, but I think this is good enough for now. So, this is how you write main body paragraphs. Now, guys, I want you to pay attention that I could make this paragraph 100 times better, and if a student gave me this paragraph, I would probably find 10 problems with it and 100 ways to make it better. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of writing. You can always improve. You can always make things better. But because I wanted this lesson to be short and I was writing very fast and I didn't have much time to think about it, this is what I came up with. Again, it's not perfect. It has many, many problems, but I think it's a good example of how you should approach writing your main body paragraphs. And that is the end of the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from this lesson. And ask me any questions that you may have, both on our YouTube channel and on our community. And have a very, very good day.